So you want to be a better cinematic pilot, do you? I'm going to share with you some quick settings that you can do that can help you on your cinematic journey. I just want to thank you, your loving kindness. One of the biggest tips is just fly slower. You know, it's fun to fly FPV and to go fast, but if you want to be cinematic and you want things to look nicer, the two things that are going to matter the most are throttle control and speed. So I know some people that like to shoot at a high frame rate, go fast, and then slow it down, and you can do that. But just in general, doing simple, boring flying really nice and slowly and smoothly is what's going to help you the most. Also, remember, you don't need to use your whole video. You can fly, you can wobble a bit, and as long as you get a few slow, longer movements, or you see a movement, the beginning's bad, the end's bad, you can cut those out and just leave the best parts. And then use music to make people feel. And the moment that people feel, they don't think as much. So pick music that makes people feel, cut to the music, and just take your best shots. You don't have to use the whole thing. You don't need a one take. One takes could be nice, but just give them the best of the best. And this allows you to cover up for not being the best pilot. So I plugged in my drone. I'm going to show you a couple settings. So if you go into the PID tuning, and I have a tune in my beginners playlist, it's a short, so you can just go and put the same tune that I have on basically everything. Or you can just kind of think about these things. You might want to put a little motor output limit. So I've seen people do throttle, where they make the throttle less, but I prefer doing the motor output limit, making it maybe 90, 95. But this setting here, the VBAT sag compensation, what this does is it takes your battery and it kind of evens it out. So if you were to just normally fly in a battery, you'll notice the beginning of your battery has a lot of power, and then as it starts dying, it starts losing that power. So what this does is it balances it out, so you'll have a more even amount of power throughout your whole flight. But instead of doing 100%, I put it at 80%, and I just find that kind of smooths things out a bit so that you're not dealing with two totally different power dynamics. So that can help. And then another thing that I think will help you also. People say cinematic rates. I've tried to have different rates for racing, freestyle, and all that stuff. And I find that whatever rates you enjoy the most, you can learn to fly them slower. You can, even if you have sensitive, which I have, I don't know, not as sensitive as Mr. Steele or something. You see my rates. I can show you my rates. There's my rates. They're right there. You can learn to, be a little bit more gentle and still have that in case you need it. So I still like having my sensitive rates even when flying cinematically, because I'm able to quickly recover or catch myself if I need to in a jiffy, instead of having slower rates that I don't like as much. But the other setting here that you can play with is right over here. It says your throttle mid. So wherever you find that you are flying, okay? So if you find that in your radio when you're flying, if you're usually flying around 50%, and that's where it's like you're hovering nicely, then that would be kind of like the middle of your throttle. I find that when you're doing cine stuff, it's a little bit higher, so I put it at like 0.62, but you could just leave it at 0.5, that's fine too. And just having a little bit of throttle expo. And what this does is wherever your throttle middle is, it kind of dampens it. So when you're throttling, it'll be a little bit less sensitive, which is what you want when you're trying to just kind of hover. So you could test it with 0.5, see if you like that. That's just right here, the throttle expo. And it's kind of like, so expo in your rates kind of just soften the curve a bit, and this just does it on your throttle. So it doesn't actually take away throttle, like if you were to do a throttle limit. You still have all that power on both ends, but just in that hovering point, it softens it for you. So I find that helps. Now you can see a little video of the kind of stuff I'll do to just kind of practice flying. One video is underexposed and the other one is overexposed. Whatever, but just doing this kind of stuff is a great way of getting better. Just fly around nice and gently, no flippy floppies, and just try and make it interesting. Anyways, I hope that helps you. If it does, smash the like button immediately. I noticed like 70% of you are not even subscribed. You just come and take and give nothing back. So give me a little like. Consider subscribing. It helps a lot. And the better you make things for me, the better I can make them for you. Okay? Smoochy, smoochy. Noticed the video kind of glitched in a few places. That's because I wasn't using the right memory card. GoPros and everything can be finicky with memory cards. So if you ever feel like you're having issues with video and it's maybe your GoPro, something wrong with it or something, usually it's the memory card, and good memory cards go a long way in everything in FPV. It's one of the things. I'll always have a whole pile of them. I made a video for you, the recommended card that I use, and whenever I use this card, no problems. It's dirt cheap. I always buy a ton of them. You should buy a ton of them. You should buy a ton of them too. Here's that video.